Hi everyone, welcome to Viva Ecology 9 Basic Training Part 2 Content Engine. Ecology 9 Content Engine allows us to create directories in the system. We can then maintain our document in the directories created. The Content Engine also enables seamless information sharing within the organizations. Before started, let me give you a brief overview of the topics that will be covered today. Today's section will be separated into two sections. The first sections of the training will cover the front-end dashboard's knowledge portal. I will show you that how can the end user navigate to knowledge portal, access to the documents that are shared with them, and create or edit document at the front-end dashboard. The second section's content engine, I will demonstrate how to maintain the directories that show in the knowledge portal and how to configure the knowledge portal elements through basic info, subdirectory, permission management, and template setting page. Next, let me show you what are the directories we're going to configure today. In this training section, we will build the knowledge portal for the company name Viva Demo. We'll build a parent directories called HR related document and its subdirectories, business travel attachment, and employee offer letter based on the requirements provided. Before that, I will use the parent directory company policy that I built to show you what we can do in the knowledge portal. Let's move to the front end dashboard. After you log into Ecology 9, hover your mouse over the bottom menu icon and select Knowledge Portal. You will be brought to the Knowledge Portal. First, I will show you that how to create documents. Select Create Documents on the side menu bar. On the left side, there is a navigation pane that shows all the directories that you are able to create document in. The directories are also shown on the right side of the page. You can see that there is the company policy directory that I created earlier. You can then select the directories that you want to create document in. For example, if I want to create document in company policy directory, I can select the directory in the navigation pane or on the right side of the page. After that, click on the create icon to open the document editor. In the document editor, you can then provide the title and type the content in the document. There are other tools provided in the document editor, such as changing the font style or the size, inserting special character, uploading a video, and etc. You can also attach documents, workflow, tasks, or other attachment in the document. Select Property page. It will show you the details of the document. For example, the owner of this document, the directories, the document status. If you select Attachment tab, you'll be able to see the attachment that you uploaded to this document. After typing the content, you can choose to publish the document in the knowledge portal, and it will be shared with the directory's default sharing group, or you can save the document as drafts. You can create document at the landing page of knowledge portal as well. Select document on the side menu bar, click on the create document button on the top right, and select the directories that you want to create document in. Then click on confirm. You will then be brought to the document editor. On the landing page of the knowledge portal, you can see that there are 3 tabs on the top here. All documents will be the list of documents that you created or share with you. The Unread tab will show you the list of unread documents. You can also select My Document to show all the documents that you created. By clicking on this icon here, you can expand the directory's navigation pane. By default, the navigation pane will show you your favorite directories. If you never add directories to favorite, you can click on the drop-down list and select All Directory. All the directories that you can access will then show in the navigation pane. You can see here, there are numbers in red and gray color. The number in red color represents the total number of unread documents in the directory, and the gray one represents the total number of documents in the directory. Just click on the star icon. You can add the directory to the favorite directory list. You can click on the star icon again to remove it from the favorite list. Next, let me show you how you can edit the documents that you have edit permissions. Hover your mouse over the document that you have permissions to edit. Select Edit from the drop-down list. Then you can edit it. After you have finished editing, you can click on the Submit button to publish it in the Knowledge Portal, or you can click on the Draft button to save as draft. However, if you publish the document before, saving the document as draft will stop it from sharing until you resubmitted it again. You can also select Log from the drop-down list to access document log. Other than that, if you have the full control permissions, you can select Delete from the drop-down list and click on Confirm to remove the document from the directory. If one of the allowed modifying sharing settings is enabled at the backend dashboard, we can also modify sharing settings of the documents in the Knowledge Portal. I will show you how you can share the documents with others in the Knowledge Portal. Select Share from the drop-down list. Document Share window will then pop up. The first column will be the sharing type. In Ecology 9, there are two types of sharing, default and not default sharing. I will explain more on the difference between these two types of sharing in the backend dashboard sections. The next three columns, object type, object, and security level, will be used to identify the persons that we share the document with. The next column will be the permission type. We have three types of permissions in Ecology 9: view, edit, and full control. View permissions only allow the persons to view the document. People with edit permissions are able to edit the document and submit to publish the document or save the document as draft. The full control permissions provide the users the ability to edit, share, or even delete the document from the directory. Next will be the download permissions column. It will be used to identify whether a person or the group of people can download the document or not. So, how can we share the document using this document share window? For example, if I want to share this document to Vice President from Singapore divisions and I want to provide them the edit permissions, I can then click on this Add button here and Add Sharing window will pop up. Next, we will need to choose the object type. There are several object types that we can choose from the drop-down list. For example, the human resource type, which will be used to select specific personnel to share the document with from the human resource browser. We can also select divisions or departments or all personnel from the organization. For this example, I will select position as the object type. Then I can select Vice President from the position browser. Then click on Confirm. After selecting Vice President from the position browser, we then need to decide the position level. If the position level is set as headquarters, then the document will be shared with all the vice presidents in the organizations. However, we can also share the document with the positions within a specified divisions or department. So, if I want to share the document with the vice president from Singapore divisions only, then I can set the position level as specified divisions, then select Singapore divisions from the division browser, then click on Confirm. The third field of this window will be changed based on your selections of the object type. So for example, if you choose All as the object type, then the third field will change to security level. Then we can restrict the range of sharing by using the security level that we set in the organization permission center. The next thing that we need to decide is the permission type. So we have view, edit, and full control permission here. The person with view permissions can only view the document that is shared with them. We can also uncheck the downloadable box to restrict them from downloading the document from the directory. Next is the edit permission. The person with edit permissions will be able to edit the document that share with them. They will also have the ability to configure the document sharing settings in the Knowledge Portal. The last one is the full control permission. Full control permissions will provide the persons the ability to share, edit, or delete the document. For this example, I will just select the edit permissions tab, then click on OK. The Vice President from Singapore Divisions will now have the permissions to edit the document. In the next sections of this training, we will create a parent directory, HR-related document, and its subdirectories, business travel attachment and employee offer letter at the backend dashboard. As you can see from the directories requirements page, the maximum size of attachment uploaded for both directories will be 100 megabytes. Besides that, no document can be manually created in the business travel attachment directory, and only employees from HR departments can create documents in the employee offer letter directory. We will also need to configure the view permissions in the content engine. The employees from the HR departments will be able to view the document and download the document from both directories. So now, let us build the directory together at the backend dashboard content engine. First, click on this three dots icon and select backend dashboard from the drop-down list. Then, click on the content engine on the backend portal menu. Select directory setting on the top menu bar. You will be brought to the document directory setup page. On the left side will be a navigation pane that shows you all the directories that are in the system. On the right side will be the directory list. Next, we can now create our parent directory HR-related document. Click on the create button here. The first field will be the parent directory field. Since we are creating a parent directory, we can just leave the field blank. Next, enter the directory name, HR-related document. We can also provide the directory with the directory code or maintain the display sequence by using the sequence field. You can see there's also an enable disable button here. If we enable these functions, the user will then be prohibited to rename the title of the documents created. As we know there are no further configurations required for the parent directory, we can just click on Save button. The directory will then be created and shown in the content engine. Next, we will create the subdirectories. Similarly, we can click on the Create button here, then select its parent directory from the directory browser. So, I can just select HR-related document, then click on Confirm. Next, enter the subdirectory name. After that, click on Save and go to Details to configure other settings like the view permissions, create permissions, and also the maximum attachment uploaded size. After click on the Save and go to Details button, you will be brought to the basic info setting page of the directory. On the page, there will be the similar settings shown in the Create Document window. We can edit the basic information of the directory here. For example, change the name of the directory or rearrange the sequence of the directories. In the function setting tab, you can see here there are many settings that we can set up for this directory, and the most important one will be the watermark enable setting. So we can enable these settings, then the watermark will be applied when view, download, or print the documents. There are also other settings in the tabs. So for example, allow settings as news, allow reply, and allow scope. Next, click on sharing settings. There will be allow modifying sharing settings and set up sharing when the document is submitted functions. As I mentioned in the first sections, in Ecology 9, there are two types of sharing for the content engine. Default and not default sharing. Default sharing is the sharing permission settings we predetermined and set up in the content engine. If we enable the allow modifying sharing settings for default sharing, the front-end user that we've added or full control permissions can then remove sharing group for the document that are in the directory. The non-default sharing is the sharing permission settings that configured by the front-end user with edit or full control permissions. The front-end user with the permissions can only configure the sharing permission settings in the knowledge portal if we enable the allow modifying sharing settings for non-default sharing. In this training, I will keep the settings for both sharing disabled. Next is the setup sharing when the document is submitted setting. If this setting is enabled, the sharing settings window will pop out every time front-end user click on submit to publish their documents. The next setting that I'm going to cover is the attachment setting. So based on the directory requirements, we will need to set up the maximum attachment uploaded size to be 100 megabytes. So click on the attachment settings and we can then set the maximum size of attachment uploaded to 100. And the minimum one, we can just leave it as 0. There are also other functions such as prohibited attachment from batch downloading, and also enable the next function so that the attachment will be automatically open if the document open has no content. The next functions will be used to display the document attachment properties. So if you enable this and open a document, the attachment properties will then be shown on the bottom of the document. We can also restrict the file upload type. So for example, if I want to restrict the upload type as PDF or Word file, I can type the PDF and Word file follow this format in this field. Let's move to the document log settings. First, we need to decide whether allows the person with view permissions to access the document log. If they are allowed to access the document log, we can select View by Document Permissions from the drop-down list. They can now access the document by selecting Log from the drop-down list in the Knowledge portal. If we selected View by Document Log Permissions, then only the document owner and person with document log permissions can access the document log. We can display the document log in the document reader as well. We can enable these document reading statistic functions in the document log setting page, then save. Users who can access the log will then see the new tab, Document Log, when opening the document in the Knowledge portal. The next thing will be the subdirectory tab. We can select it and the list of subdirectories will be shown on this page. For example, HR-related document subdirectories. We can select HR-related document on the navigation pane, then click on subdirectory. The list of its subdirectories will then display on the screen. We can create the subdirectories here. Just click on the Create button and enter the directory name. We can also enable or disable this inherent parent directory setting. So if we enable it, the subdirectory will inherit the settings of its parent directory, including the sharing setting. Here I will just disable it and click on the Save button to create the subdirectory. The next part will be the permission management setting. Click on Permission Management. We can then set up our default sharing here. As you can see in the share list, there are system default sharing settings. For example, the creator has the full control of the document, and also their direct supervisor will have the permissions to view and download the document. So how are we going to set up the default sharing? The first half of the page will be the share object where we can set up our sharing setting. The first sharing category will be the related to creator category. So we can use this to set up the permissions that related to the creator. Click on this drop-down list. We can then select creator, direct supervisor, or superior, divisions of the creator, creator departments, or creator positions. Then decide the sharing permissions type, view, edit, or full control, and whether the document under this directory are downloadable or not. Then click on Sure. The sharing settings will then be added to the share list. Other than creator-related share object, we can click on this General tab. There will be other selections such as divisions, departments, positions, or all the employee within the organizations. Based on the directory's requirements, we will need to share the business travel attachment to all the HR departments. Therefore, we can select departments, then select all the HR departments from the department browser. Then, click on Confirm. Check this include subordinate box to include all the sub-departments, then change the security level from 0 to 100. Then the permissions type will be set as View and make sure the downloadable box is checked. Then click on Sure. All the HR department can now access business travel document to view and download the documents from this directory. We can follow exact same steps to set up the default sharing of the employee offer letter, since both employee offer letter and business travel attachment will have the same default sharing permission settings. Next will be the maintenance permissions. We can click on this Add button to add group of people or persons to the maintenance group. The maintenance group will have the ability to monitor the document created under this directory and also maintain its subdirectories. However, the maintenance group will not be allowed to modify the settings of this directory. The next permission settings will be the create permissions. For this training, I will use employee offer letter to demonstrate how we can configure the create permissions. Select employee offer letter on the navigation pane, then permission management, and click on create permissions. We can then select our object type from the drop-down list. For example, the departments, divisions, human resource, or position. Based on the directory requirements, I will select departments here and select HR departments from the departments browser. Then click on Confirm. We can also check this Include Subordinate box to include all the sub-departments. The next step is to set up the security level. I'll just set the security level from 0 to 100 here. Then click on Confirm. The HR department will then have the ability to create documents under this directory. The next two permissions will be copy authorities and also mobility authority. The copy authority will be used to control the permissions of copying the documents under the directory. And the mobility authorities will be used to control the permissions of moving a document from one directory to another directory. The topic that will be covered next will be the version management. So we can enable these version settings to control our document versions. Let me show you at the front end. If I created a new document in this directory, the versions will be shown as 1.0, and if someone edited and saved the document, the version number will change to 2.0. We can also add prefix to the version number. For example, if I want to show the version as v1.0, v2.0, then I can type v here to add the prefix. After I've added the prefix, you can see that the version number now displays as v1.0, v2.0. The front-end user can also access the history versions of the document. Open the document, then select document versions. Then click on the historical versions to open the previous versions of the document. We can also click on the button up here to see the latest version. However, by default, the person with view permissions cannot access historical versions of the document. If person with view permissions are allowed to check on the historical versions of the document, we can enable operator with read-only permissions can view historical version functions. The next setting will be the document number. First, click on the document number tab. Then we can enable this category called rule. If this function is enabled, when we created or uploaded a document, the system will generate a document number based on this code component. As you can see here, we can add a prefix, display directory code, date, and change the sequence number length. For example, if I want my document number to be generated as document year followed by 3 digits number, I can enter docs in the prefix field, enable the year options, then change the sequence number length to 3. Below code component, there will be a preview of the document number generated. Let me show you how it looks like at the front-end dashboard. So, create documents, its document number will be generated by the system. Next will be the series number rules. The first one will be the independent series number of self-directory. For example, if I want the series number of the first document created or uploaded in both business travel attachment and employee offer letter directories to start from 001, then I will need to enable these functions for both directories. We can also enable the date of separate series number functions to restart the series number from 1 every year, month, or day. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the template setting. On the template setting page, click on Create button here to add layout for the document inside this directory. Document template can be divided into display template and editing template. If we set up a default display template for the directory, the document will be displayed according to the display template when we open the document at the front-end dashboard. The editing template will be used when front-end user creating or editing the document in the directory. So how can we create a display template or editing template? Select document template on the top menu bar. You can then choose to create a display template or edit template on the side menu bar. For example, here, I will just create a display template for demonstration. Select display template on the side menu bar, then click on create. We can then design our display template here. First, enter the display template name, for example, default display. We can also import the design from existing template by selecting from this template browser. Next, we will design our display template layout in the template content sections. For example, if I want a document title to be placed on the top middle of the document, then I can select document title from this list, then move it to center. We can add other details as well. For example, the document creation date, creator, and version. Then we must add the content element in the template. Similar to content editor, we can also change the font size or font style in the template content sections. After that, click on Save button to create the display template. The display template will then be shown on the display template list. On the display or edit template list, we can set a template as system default template. All the directories will then use the same display or edit template. We can also delete the template that we are not using or edit the template created. After creating the display or editing template, we can then set up the template for the directories. Let me show you how to set up the display template for employee offer letter directory with the display template we created. Click on the Create button, select the layout type from the drop-down list, then select the display template that we created. Next, we can check its default box to set the display template as default template. Click on Save. The display template will then be used when front-end user open document in the employee offer letter directory. Let me show you the effect in the knowledge portal. Open a document saved in the employee offer letter directory. You can see that the display template that we set up has been applied to the document. Other than setting up the default template, we can add more templates to the directory template setting page. The front-end users who have the edit or full control permissions can then select the template that they want on the properties tab when creating or editing the document. For example, I can create a new display template on the display template page, then click on Save. Next, move to the directory template setting page. Disable the is default setting and add the new display template. I can then select the display template on the document properties page. Next, I will guide you through the steps of adding field on the document properties tab. Some organizations may require other information to be displayed on the document properties page. For example, HR executive from River Demo would like to add a comment field in the document properties page. We can then select properties page tab, then click on Create button. The Create Custom Field window will pop out. Enter the database name and the field name. After that, select the field type from the drop-down list. I will cover more on the field type in the Workflow Engine basic training. Here, I will just select text box as the field type, then click on Save. The comment field will then be added to the Properties tab. We can let the comment sections occupy a row on the Properties tab. Change the column white to full line, then click on Save. The comment sections will then occupy a row. What if the comment field is a mandatory field? We can check the required box and save. The front-end user will now need to fill in the comment field before submitting the document. That's all for the basic training part 2 content engine. Thank you for watching.